Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and you are watching TTV News with some latest events in Tay Ninh province. And now we come into details. Ladies and gentlemen, when there were many cases of infection in the community in some province and city, the country was facing a complicated development of the epidemic. For that situation, the Provincial Steering Committee for Disease Prevention and Control held an online meeting with locality on May 28 in the afternoon to implement urgent measures to prevent epidemics in the province. The meeting was chaired and attended by Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc, Chairman of the Provincial People Committee and head up the Provincial Steering Committee for Disease Prevention and Control. The meeting was attended by Vice Chairman of the Provincial People Committee, Nguyễn Mạnh Hùng, a member of the Provincial Steering Committee for Epidemic Prevention and Control, and a representative of the executive boards of the Provincial Buddhist, the Muslim community, and the Provincial Catholic Solidarity Committee.
Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc, Chairman of the People's Committee, stated at the meeting that Tay Ninh is still at risk of disease outbreaks from both imported and domestic sources. The number of positive SARS-CoV-2 virus cases in the country is increasing, particularly in the provinces of Bắc Giang, Bắc Ninh, and Ho Chi Minh City. A positive case was recently discovered in Long An community. To deal with the epidemic, the province is currently planning to upgrade and expand field hospitals. In addition, the health sector proposed that departments, agencies, sectors, and mass organizations strengthen propaganda, mobilize and promote on equipment and resources, and use information technology in propaganda. Enterprises and industrial parks must conduct safety inspections and assessment in accordance with the criteria outlined in Decree 2194 of the National Steering Committee for Epidemic Prevention and Control, as well as keep anti-epidemic safety software up to date. Simultaneously, serious implement 5K at the unit. Speaking at the meeting, Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc urged departments and localities to maintain the implemented epidemic prevention measures in a spirit of not being objectivity, neglect and loss of vigilance, decisiveness, high responsibility, mobilization of armed forces and political system. The most important thing to remember is to prevent, implement proactive quick tracing and combat epidemic suppression at the same time, minimizing the epidemic impact on pure socio-economic development. Strengthen inspection in industrial parks, ensuring that each enterprise has a plan for epidemic prevention and specific solutions in the event of an F0 cases. Develop production projects that are appropriate for the epidemic, limit overtime, arrange shifts to ensure worker distance. Blue zone must be installed by our employees, and medical declarations must be made on the app honestly and on a regular basis. Forces collaborate at the border to detect and respond to cases of illegal entry. Focus on directing each residential group to propagate people not to cross entry in border areas, particularly in the five border districts and towns. If they do go, they must be subjected to concentrated medical isolation, just like people on entry. To monitor organizations, transportation businesses, and motorcycle taxi drivers who do not organize to transport or pick up illegal immigrants. In the near future, the province will also take steps to control the spread of infection from other areas to Tay Ninh. Non-essential services and activities will continue to be suspended. A number of cultural, artistic, and outdoor sport activities have also been temporarily halted. To be allowed to operate, business services must ensure epidemic prevention, implement 5K, distance themselves, and not gather more than 20 people at a time.
The Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association in the South, led by Ms. Hà Thị Tú Anh, central member of the Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association, visited and received materials to support the prevention work on the border for the Border Guard Command of Tay Ninh Province on May 28, 2021. Attending the reception program, there were Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc, Chairman of Tay Ninh Provincial People Committee.
This time, the Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association in the South donated 500 pairs of boots, 2,000 bottles of 5 liters of drinking water, 100 sets of raincoats, 400 flashlights, 50 cartons of condensed milk, and other necessities worth more than 370 million Vietnam dong for the jobs epidemic prevention on the border of Tay Ninh province. Colonel Nguyễn Tài Sơn, Political Commissioner of the Border of Tay Ninh province, represented the unit receiving materials from the Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association in the South. At the same time, report to the chairman of the Provincial Peace Committee and the representative of the Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association in the South on some of resources obtained in the prevention of the COVID-19 epidemic on the border today. Colonel Nguyễn Tài Sơn expressed heartfelt gratitude to the Vietnam-Cambodia Friendship Association for timely mobilization of material support for border anti-epidemic forces. The unit will coordinate the distribution of materials received today to anti-epidemic stations and checkpoints as soon as possible in order to assist the anti-epidemic force in reducing difficulties in the coming time. On May 28, the military command of Tay Ninh province and the military command of Tân Bình district, led by Colonel Đỗ Thành Việt, Deputy Political Commissioner of the Provincial Military Command, paid a visit to and presented gifts to key COVID-19 epidemic prevention posts along the border. The delegation paid visits to 25 anti-epidemic and COVID-19 prevention posts in the border towns of Lò Gò, Tân Bình, Tân Phú, Sa Mát, and Trang Riệc. The delegation visited the destinations to learn about the life and health of officers and soldiers on duty at checkpoints, as well as the work of preventing illegal entry, roadblocks, and openings. The key posts have reported on task performance in the past and plan to continue organizing the task of prevention control of the COVID-19 epidemic in the near future. The delegation presented gifts from the Provincial Military Command and Hải Đăng Khoa Enterprise, including necessities for officers and soldiers at the post, and encouraged officers and soldiers on duty at the border posts to remain vigilant in the prevention and control of the COVID-19 epidemic.
In the afternoon of May 28, Mr. Nguyễn Tiến Tân, Deputy Secretary of the Tay Ninh Provincial Youth Union, representing the province youth and sponsor, paid a visit to the Tay Ninh Border Guard Command and presented a symbolic ball of funding for the project, lighting up the patrol role.
Along with mobilizing resources and organizing activities to visit and give officers and soldiers on duty to prevent and control the COVID-19 epidemic on the border, the province youth have launched the youth project Light Up the Border Patrol Role in the past. The project is thought to have a positive impact, both in terms of border security and assisting officers and soldiers in their efforts to patrol and control the epidemic. Tay Ninh Provincial Youth Union awarded a signboard showing the funding source of 230 million Vietnam dong to continue implementing the project Lighting Up, Light the Way to Patrol the Border during this summer youth volunteer campaign. With the support of FICO Tay Ninh Cement Joint Stock Company, the work is expected to be finished in June, with 100 solar light posts installed along the 10-kilometer border patrol road, which is managed physically by Trang Riệc and Cà Tum border guard stations. In the morning of May 28, the People's Council of Tay Ninh Province held its 21st session for the 2016-2021 term to consider and issue a number of resolutions concerning the province's budget economy. The meeting was co-chaired by Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee and Chairman of the Provincial People's Council, Mr. Võ Đức Trong, and Mr. Nguyễn Thành Phong, Vice Chairman of the Provincial People's Council. Mr. Nguyễn Tấn Tài, Director of the Department of Transport, presented a report at the meeting requesting that the Provincial People's Council agree to propose the implementation of the investment project to build the Ho Chi Minh City Mobile Expressway. Following consideration and discussion, the People's Council delegates unanimously approved the draft resolution proposing the implementation of the investment project to build the Ho Chi Minh City Mobile Highway. The project will be implemented between 2021 and 2025. Delegates of the Provincial People's Council agreed to approve the draft resolution authorizing the adjustment of investment policy for the Connecting Road project, connecting the region N8, 787B, 789. The project spans more than 48 kilometers. As a result, the capital structure of the project is as follows. The central budget will allocate 1,200 billion Vietnam dong for the period of 2021-2025, with the remainder coming from the provincial budget and other legal sources. Delegates also approved a draft resolution to provide feedback on the 5-year medium-term public investment plan for the period of 2021-2025. As a result, the estimated state budget capital for the public investment plan during this period is greater than 23,738 billion Vietnam dong, in which the local budget capital and additional capital accounts for more than 19,846 billion Vietnam dong. The remainder is capital from the federal government's coffers. The draft resolution on changing the purpose of using rice land for the implementation of projects and works in Tay Ninh province in the first phase of 2021 was also approved at the 21st session. There have been 6 projects and works transfer, change the purpose of using land for rice cultivation to another with a 34.39 hectares area. Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee and Chairman of the People's Council, suggested at the meeting's conclusion that the Provincial People's Committee utterly implement and countersign the Provincial People's Council's resolutions, requesting the Standing Committee of the People's Council, the People's Council committees, and the Provincial People's Council delegates to strengthen supervision of the implementation of the issued resolutions.
The audience for many years now, at the end of the school year, when the students were preparing to enter the important exam, the volunteer soldiers wearing the youth blue shirt were cited, preparing to participate in the exam season support program. In the context of the current COVID-19 epidemic, the Tay Ninh Bronzo Youth Union will continue to organize the exam season support program in 2021 in collaboration with the Tay Ninh Department of Education and Training. The spirit of the ensuring safety, preventing the COVID-19 epidemic, and providing a lot of support and help to the candidates.
This same season support program will be continued in 2021 with 2 key activities focusing on the 10th grade entrance exam and the high school graduation exam. As in previous years, all levels of the youth union across the province will actively mobilize social resources and volunteers to provide immediate support and assistance to candidates. Suggest exams are conducted safely and successfully by providing free breakfast to candidates prior to entering the exam room, providing necessary exam tools, particularly supporting body temperature measurement, distributing masks, hand sanitizer, and so on. In addition, this year marks the 20th anniversary of the exam season support program being born and accompanying the soldiers. So depending on the current situation and development of the epidemic, the units will also have appropriate commemorative activities, helping to spread the beautiful image and profound human values that the exam season support program has brought over the last 20 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today TTV News. Thank you for joining with us and see you next time.